What if I told you there's a place where a United States military rocket veered off course on its own and crashed exactly where meteorites have been falling for thousands of years? Or a lake that killed 1,700 people in a single quiet night? No poison, no explosion, not a single sound. Today we'll show you 13 places on Earth where physics plays by different rules. Some, scientists have explained, others, they still can't. The final place on our list is a zone that the military classified for years, and scientists still go out of their way to avoid. When you find out what happens there, you'll understand why. Are you ready? Let's go. Number 13. The Singing Beach, United States. You think you know what a beach sounds like? Waves, seagulls, sand crunching underfoot? Predictable. Picture an ordinary morning on the Atlantic coast. The cry of seagulls, a salty breeze, gray sand beneath your feet. You take a step and the ground screams, not a crunch, not a squeak, a clean, almost musical tone. You take another step, then another. The beach answers in rhythm. You start stomping and the earth echoes back, like an instrument playing along. The beach at Manchester by the Sea in Massachusetts has long been called Singing Beach by the locals. Tourists who hear it for the first time stop walking and stare down at their feet, with an expression that says the ground just spoke to them. There is an explanation. The quartz sand grains here are perfectly round and nearly identical in size. Thousands of years of waves polished them to perfection. When they rub together under the pressure of a footstep, they create a resonance at around 500 Hz, roughly the note B in the first octave. The earth is literally singing. But there is one condition. The moment the beach gets wet, it goes silent. Water kills the friction. The music cuts out as if someone flipped a switch. On sunny days, the beach sings. On rainy days, it goes quiet and gray. Number 12. Lake Kelimutu, Indonesia. Flores Island, Indonesia. The summit of a volcano. 3 lakes and 3 craters, literally 100 meters apart from each other. One is turquoise, the second, deep red, the third, black. Your first thought, Photoshop, a tourist postcard. But this isn't a photo editor. This is chemistry that even the scientists who study it don't fully understand. Every few years, the lakes change color, each one independently of the other two. The turquoise turns green, the red turns white, the black turns suddenly blue. Sometimes all 3 change in a single night. The official explanation: chemical reactions between volcanic minerals and gases rising from the depths. Iron gives red, copper gives blue, sulfur gives green. That part makes sense. What doesn't make sense is this. Why do the changes happen so suddenly? Not over days, but overnight. What triggers the reaction is unknown. The local Leo tribe believes the souls of the dead live in these lakes. The young in the blue, the old in the black, sinners in the red. What each color change means, the tribe doesn't tell outsiders. 3 lakes, side by side, 3 entirely different worlds. Nature doesn't owe us consistency. Sometimes it simply reminds us who makes the rules. Number 11. The Devil's Kettle, Minnesota, United States. A state park in northern Minnesota. You're walking a trail along the Brule River, an ordinary river. Forest, birds, and then the river splits in 2. The left half flows on calmly, drops over a waterfall, and drains into Lake Superior, everything as expected. The right half falls into a round stone funnel, about 3 meters across, roughly the size of a standard dining table, and disappears. Forever. Scientists have spent decades trying to find where the water goes. They poured dye into the funnel and waited to see where it would surface. It never appeared anywhere. They sent waterproof capsules with GPS trackers inside. The signal vanished instantly. They threw in logs, buoys, and marker floats. Not a trace, not one. The official theory, a system of underground fractures in the basalt, leading out to Lake Superior. It sounds reasonable. If that were true, the tide would appear in the lake. It didn't. The Devil's Kettle takes the water and says nothing. Number 10. The Eternal Flame Waterfall, New York Chestnut Ridge Park, New York State. The end of a forest trail. A small waterfall. Water cascades onto the rocks below. And behind the curtain of water, tucked into a niche in the stone, fire is burning, constantly. A living orange flame surrounded by water on all sides. Geologists have an explanation. Shale containing natural gas lies beneath the rock. The gas seeps through cracks. Someone lit it at some point, and it has been burning ever since. Occasionally, a winter storm blows it out. Tourists light it again, and it burns. But there is one detail geologists cannot explain. This gas burns too hot. Its temperature is significantly higher than the natural gas found in shale deposits anywhere else in the region. Where the extra thermal energy comes from is an open question. Fire burns. Water flows. It shouldn't be possible. Number 9. The Katatumbo Lightning Venezuela Night, a wooden boat in the middle of Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela. Tropical darkness all around. And then the horizon starts to flash. Not once, not twice, continuously. Dozens of lightning bolts per minute with no thunder. In near total silence. This happens here every single night, 280 nights a year. 10 hours at a stretch. Here it happens 280 nights in a row, without stopping. Sailors in the 16th century called it the Lighthouse of Maracaibo. They navigated by its flashes from 400 kilometers offshore. Sir Francis Drake once attempted a night raid on the city of Maracaibo and was spotted by the light of these very lightning bolts, a natural phenomenon that changed the outcome of real naval battles. Twice. The mechanics are understood. Warm, humid air from the Caribbean meets cold currents sweeping down from the Andes. The methane rising from oil deposits on the lakebed further ionizes the air. A natural power station, running for thousands of years without interruption. In 2010, it stopped. For the first time in all recorded history, the Katatumbo lightning vanished for nearly 2 months. Complete silence over the lake. Scientists found no explanation. Then the lightning came back, as if nothing had happened. What switched off the power station for 2 months? No one knows to this day. Number 8. The Sailing Stones Death Valley Racetrack Playa. Death Valley, California. A perfectly flat, dried lakebed. A white salt surface stretching to the horizon. Heat, silence, and across that surface, rocks are moving, heavy ones, up to 300 kilograms each. About the weight of a full-grown brown bear. They leave long grooves carved into the salt crust behind them. Some grooves are straight, some curve gently, some turn at a sharp right angle. 2 rocks that were lying side by side drift away in opposite directions, each taking its own path. In 100 years of observation, not a single person had ever seen a rock move. Scientists placed sensors, cameras, and markers. The rocks only moved when no one was watching. In 2014, it was finally captured on film. At night, a thin sheet of ice forms across the lakebed. In the morning, it begins to melt, and enormous flat ice panels slowly drift in a light wind, pushing the rocks as they go. The speed, a few centimeters per minute, about as fast as the minute hand on a clock. The eye can't register it. By midday, the ice has evaporated. The rock is in a new position. Behind it, a groove. Nature wasn't breaking the rules of physics. It was using them in a way we couldn't see for 100 years. Number 7. The Morning Glory Cloud, Australia, Cape York Peninsula, northern Australia. Every year from September through March, the exact same storm assembles over one small patch of land. Not a similar one, the same one, with the same lightning paths, the same rhythm of strikes, at the same time of day. The local Aboriginal people call it Kokatha, and they greet its return like a celebration. It is not left in thousands of years. Meteorologists only worked out the mechanics in 2019. 3 sea breezes converge here from the west, east, and north. The peninsula heats up so intensely that hot air rises in a vertical column, and every time, with surgical precision, it collides with 3 cold air masses at a single point, an atmospheric triangle that recreates itself every year. But here is what they still cannot explain. The storm responds to people. In years when the Aboriginal communities followed tradition and burned sections of the savanna in specific places, the storm intensified. In years when those burns were prohibited by modern law, it weakened. The fire on the ground and the storm in the sky have been in conversation with each other for thousands of years. We are only just beginning to notice. Number 6. The Blue Fire, Indonesia, Mount Ijen, Java. At night, only the most determined tourists and local sulfur miners make the climb, because during the day, it is simply dangerous, and at night, it is impossibly beautiful and even more dangerous. The crater of Ijen is the only place on Earth where the flames erupting from the ground are not red or orange. They are blue, electric blue, almost violet. They race across the slopes of the crater, flow in streams down the rocks, and it looks as though someone poured neon light directly onto the Earth. The cause? Sulfurous gases bursting from fissures at temperatures above 600 degrees Celsius, about 1.5 times hotter than the flame on an ordinary gas stove. Burning sulfur produces blue light, unlike the familiar orange of burning hydrocarbons. Streams of molten sulfur flow downhill and also burn blue until they cool and solidify into yellow chunks. Those yellow chunks are what the local miners haul out every morning, by hand, without masks. Each basket weighs up to 90 kilograms. That is like carrying 2 grown men on your back, uphill, across volcanic rock every single day. The Blue Fire is one of a kind in the world. But the most terrifying thing here isn't the fire, it's the people who have stopped noticing it. Number 5. The Darvaza Crater, Turkmenistan, 1971. Soviet geologists are drilling a borehole in the Karakum Desert. The ground collapses beneath the rig. A crater opens up 70 meters across, about the size of the footprint of a 5-story apartment block. Gas begins pouring out. The solution seems simple. Light it. The gas will burn off in a few weeks. 55 years have passed. The crater is still burning. Locals call it the door to hell. At night, the glow is visible for several kilometers. You feel the heat 30 meters away. The walls are covered in orange and blue tongues of flame, each at its own intensity. The crater breathes. In 2022, the president of Turkmenistan officially ordered it extinguished. Engineers studied the problem and quietly replied, "We don't know how." The fire feeds from reservoirs of unknown size. The Soviet geologists of 1971 opened a Pandora's box, and no one has been able to close it since. Number 4. Lake Natron, Tanzania. At first glance, it's just a shallow reddish lake in Tanzania. A calm surface, quiet. A natural embalmer operating for thousands of years. The paradox? Flamingos live in this lethal lake, only them. Lake Natron is the sole breeding ground of the lesser flamingo on Earth. Around 75% of the entire global population is born here. In a place where life is impossible for almost everything, one species built its home. Number 3. The warm sea beneath Antarctica. Beneath an ice sheet 3 kilometers thick, imagine a stack of 1,009-story buildings pressing down above you, where there should be nothing but permafrost. There is a sea, not a small puddle, a real lake, 250 kilometers long, about the distance from New York City to Philadelphia. Water temperature, just above freezing, warmer than the surface of Lake Michigan in January. Geothermal activity heats the water from below. The ice above keeps it from freezing. Lake Vostok has been sealed off from the outside world for around 15 million years, longer than modern humans have existed as a species. In 2012, Russian scientists drilled into it for the first time. On the drill, they found living organisms, bacteria that exist nowhere on the surface of the Earth. They evolved in total darkness, under crushing pressure, in complete isolation, and survived. If life survived under 3 kilometers of ice for 15 million years, then life beneath the frozen crust of Europa, a moon of Jupiter, stops being science fiction. It becomes a statistical probability. Antarctica isn't the end of the world, it's a preview of one. Number 2. Lake Nyos, Cameroon. August 21, 1986. The villages around Lake Nyos in Cameroon settle in for the night as usual. The night is quiet, warm, no smell, no sound, no change in the air. By morning, 1,700 people are dead. Thousands of livestock, too. The villages look as though people simply lay down and never got up. Lake Nyos sits inside the crater of a dormant volcano. For years, magma beneath it had been saturating the deep layers of water with carbon dioxide under pressure, like a bottle of cola that had been shaken for several years straight. That night, something disturbed the balance. Perhaps a landslide. The lake erupted, not with fire, with gas. A column of carbon dioxide 80 meters tall, roughly the height of a 20-story office building, burst into the air and rolled down the hillside as a heavy, invisible cloud. Carbon dioxide is denser than air. It displaced the oxygen right at ground level, exactly where people were sleeping. Colorless, odorless, silent. People felt nothing. They simply stopped breathing in their sleep. Right now, the lake contains twice as much gas as it did in 1986, before the disaster. Engineers installed 3 pipes to slowly vent the pressure. A minimum of 5 are needed. Funding ran out. More than 10,000 people live within the kill zone. The lake is waiting, in silence. The most terrifying disaster is the one you cannot feel coming. Number 1. The Zone of Silence, Mexico, 1970. A United States Air Force base in Utah. The launch of a test rocket called the Athena, a precision instrument designed to land at a specific target in New Mexico. The engineers are confident. The rocket lifts off. Operators watch their screens. The signal begins to drift. Slowly at first, then faster. The rocket veers hundreds of kilometers off course and crashes into the Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico. A search team heads to the site. They cross an invisible boundary in the desert and lose all communication. Radio goes dead. Compasses spin. GPS stops working. Welcome to the Zone of Silence. A territory in the Mapimi Desert. The radius of the anomaly is around 50 kilometers, roughly the size of Greater Los Angeles. Inside, nothing works. No radio signal, no satellite navigation. Signals don't just fade, they are absorbed. Where they go, no one knows. Geologists found a partial answer. Massive deposits of magnetite and uranium ore lie beneath the zone, and they absorb electromagnetic waves. That explains the loss of signal. But it doesn't explain something else. This is one of the most meteorite-dense locations on the entire planet, including fragments of carbonaceous chondrites, the most ancient class of meteorites known to science, carrying amino acids, the building blocks of life. Why do they fall here? Magnetite attracts iron, that's one theory. But carbonaceous chondrites contain almost no iron. The theory doesn't hold. And one final thing. The zone of silence sits at 26 degrees, 42 minutes north latitude. The same latitude as the Bermuda Triangle. The same latitude as the pyramids of Giza. The same latitude as the Himalayas in Tibet. A coincidence, most likely. But a military rocket fell here. Meteorites fall here. Signals vanish here. And until science has a single unified answer, the zone of silence stands in the Mexican desert. Silent and waiting. Drop a comment below. Which place hit you the hardest? And if you know of an anomaly we missed, tell us. We're already working on part 2.